but very good. Well, Darren, you can kind of give me the thumbs up when you think we're ready to go live. And
I'm ready.
all right, fantastic. All right. Well, we said 3 o'clock. It's a few minutes after. Of course, I grew up in Asia. I was born in the Philippines and grew up there, a missionary kid. And so time was kind of relevant when, the church was supposed to start at 10 a.m. Sometimes we would just sing songs till about 10:30, 10:45 before we got started. That was to give people time to get there. And then we just stayed until the pastor was done, right? So we could just take the watch off. It just didn't matter. What was important was the event and the time together, not the time. But well, welcome. My name is Steve Anderson. I'm serving in my 7th year as superintendent here at Grace International School. And so fortunate and blessed to have you here and your children here to be a part of what God is doing at this school and this campus. And excited to be able to share with you all some of the things that are happening here. Looking forward and giving thanks. And then also fielding questions that you guys have already submitted. A few people have sent in some questions. So thank you for taking time out of your day to come. Again, I'll point out the cupcakes in the back. For those of you online that didn't show up, the cupcakes are back there. The fruit and then the water. And of course the restrooms are just across the hall over there. But so we're just delighted to be able to have you guys here with us. I do have a slide to kind of help go along with the presentation. If during the time you've got a question or you want me to stop and pause on something, please feel free to just let me know, and we'll do that for you. Our administrative assistant, Kun Wai, is here, and she's taking notes. As often as we try to do, follow up with your comments, your questions, your responses, so that you get the feedback that you're looking for. Okay? Well, again, thank you. So, GIS was started in 1999. You probably already know this, maybe read it, the history, but there was a group of mission organizations that came together and said, let's start a school for the international Christian workers in this 1040 window in this area. They organized a board of directors that are representatives from those founding and founding associate organizations. There's about 11 of those, 5 founding, and the other 6 or 7 make up the founder and founder associates. The board members come up with what's called the ends statement that you can see behind me here. This is the mandate. The superintendent shall not fail to. And it says that, keeping the school financially solvable, safe environment. It's got to include the spiritual life component for your children, the educational support, and then the home and distance education are kind of the 3 components that you'll see as mandates to us in management to have to fulfill and carry out. And you'll see those reflected in the mission, vision, and values of the school. Hi, welcome. Come on in. So you've seen this on the website. It's on posters all around. My children make fun of me because every time I speak, I show these slides to talk about the mission, the vision, and the values. But in organizational structure and institutions and different things, if we're keeping our eyes on the compass or where we're headed, what we're here for, you avoid that mission drift. You avoid getting off course, off track. So we are Grace International School, is a quality, affordable Christian school in Chiang Mai, Thailand, that exists so that international Christian workers are enabled to remain abroad due to the educational and spiritual needs of their families, of their children being met. These needs include the access to distance education, support, adaptive instruction, and tools to enable students to grow in their walk with their Lord, or personal journey, faith journey with the Lord. The vision of the school, I've got to move over this way to get out of the side of that, is that every student will know who they are in Christ. And I love that the board has put this together for us, foundational, that they will experience a quality education in an inspiring learning environment, and that they'll be able to be equipped with a biblical worldview to impact the world for Christ. And that is what we do, and that's what we try to evaluate ourselves on. Are we accomplishing those things? Who we are and what we do, we enable, we equip, and we cultivate, as we try to break down those ends statements into three, just little short tenable statements that you can see there. Our values: we follow Jesus, pursue excellence, cultivate community, we partner with you as parents, and we enable the international Christian workers. So that's who Grace is, that's why it exists, who it's for, and we just kind of keep that foundational piece in place. Internally, our school, our management, our team, our staff, our senior leadership, we choose a theme. This year our theme is bearing fruit together, coming from John 15, 16, and 17. You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you that you should go and bear fruit and that your fruit should remain. And so as we've been thinking about the tree, and we kind of started our roots, and we started about planting the tree, and now to a point to where we feel like we've now, in our 4th year, we're now kind of really hanging pictures, putting permanent restroom signs up, signs in front of doors, planting trees, doing some things to actually, we're now here, we're living, we're bearing fruit, and we're seeing the fruit come from your children and from you all, and the impact we're making in the community. You'll see these on the banners in the hallways at the school. Our global objectives for all learners. I'll point out in a few minutes, accreditation comes from Association of Christian Schools International and WASC, which is Western Association of Colleges and Schools. And we use these global objectives for all learners to talk about the head, the hands, and the heart, and our philosophy of equipping for your students. The upcoming year, GIS Community Belonging Survey, about 3 years ago, a very small start to how we begin to include conversation, the feeling of you belonging here, your students belonging here. And so this is a continuation of that belonging initiative. So there'll be a survey coming in February to kind of continue to ask and evaluate, assess how we're doing. The GIS staff do what's called the Best Christian Workplace Institute. It is a survey, it's a tool, a mechanism that Best Christian Workplace Institute surveys hundreds of schools, organizations, institutions, and places, and they have a metrics and tools, a certain amount of questions, and we get rated against those, and you also get a score. We're a school. We're always doing these, grading or scoring to see about the health and vibrancy of our staff. And so our staff annually take this survey, and it helps us understand kind of where we are. In 7 years ago, we were a toxic school environment, and we've now moved all the way to the healthy school environment, scoring at a 4.15, which is a very healthy score, and in the 69th percentile overall. So we take that temperature within, and we look forward to continuing to listening to our staff, gaining their feedback, and then looking for our ways to improve things like communication, life-giving work, inspirational leadership, sustainable strategy. These are all certain drivers that this survey helps us move towards. This is a big year for us. Every 6 years, ACSI and WASC, who are the two outside of the Thailand entities that accredit the school. So when a college or university looks at the students' transcripts and they see that we are accredited by ACSI and WASC, it gives validity, support, that the AP classes your students are taking, the science classes, the math classes have met a standard, a level that the college board says, hey, we recognize this, that's a quality school. Within Thailand, there is UNESCO, which is a local Thai accreditation team that comes and looks at our school. That's every 5 years. So they came this past year. But the WASC and ACSI, they're going to be coming April 22 through 26. Students, staff, and they'll do a temperature check. They look in all the closets. This room will be reserved. They'll have all the original documents, books. A team of usually 3 or 4 from other schools will come and do an assessment of our accreditation. October, November, we kind of submit the preliminary document called the self-study. By January, they've reviewed it and looked at it, if there's any gaps or things. And then in April, they will then make the actual physical visit. And that should give us an accreditation for the next 6 years. So that's a big deal, and we're really excited about it. And we feel really good, like we've made a lot of headway. Any questions so far along the way? Okay. Staff recruitment. This year, provisions of the Lord, help from you, the board members, mission agencies, God, in and a part of this, over 35 new staff have joined us this year. It's been incredible. When we knew we had 38 openings at the beginning of this school year, we were just like, Lord, how are you going to do this? And we put the word out. And when we look at our statistics, word of mouth, 60% continues to be our biggest gain in how our new staff tell us they heard about the school and come here. The website, social media, our communications team continues to help us with this. Our HR department, as we try to update the website, keep it live and vibrant, as we use the social media blitz and different things. We start typically in November asking our staff for a 2-year commitment. Are you going to be with us next year? Are you going to be with us the following year? So it kind of gives us an idea of the staffing we're going to need in a 2-year cycle. And so after November 1st, we'll be updating our website to places or positions that we already know. Staff have from November through December, so like 1st of January around there, to kind of let us know I'm for sure staying. Or if they're not, we might post their position. And so that gives then some time frame for them to pray about and discern the Lord's leading in their life. Then the recruitment and job fairs. ACSI offers to 3 universities in the States. Last year, Van Den is sitting in the back here. He and myself went to Grand Canyon University, Baylor University, and Liberty University. This year, I think they've added Dallas Baptist University. And then I visited at least 3 other universities during that time. They set up a booth, a table. We get to meet students. We share about the school, and we do a recruitment fair. They also do a virtual one that we can join in, and our HR department sits online or posts hours that will be there, and those types of things. We're also looking into churches, mission organizations. If you know your mission organization has a huge on-mission celebration, there's actually going to be 300 candidates there who are praying about what God might do in their life. Please let us know, myself or HR, and if there's a possibility for us to visit that mission organization, set up a booth and represent grace, we would do that as well. Expos like Urbana or other big events, we try to attend and be a part of. This year's new staff. Chapel services, our principal, Miss Cindy Morphus, and Katie Thomas is the vice principal. It's fully staffed, and we're really, really excited. Because it took about 3 years ago for Joe Crane and the educational leadership team begin to develop what a middle school program would. Campus development projects, I'm going to slide this over just a little bit so I don't have to keep leaning around that. Yet to be completed. So the Performing Arts Building, I'll point that out right here. It's where the middle school building was just built. There are some piles in the ground. That is where our band, choir, drama rooms would go. Roughly $400,000 to $500,000, and we could move into that. It's another 1-story building with high ceilings. So the contractors that built the middle school in about 7 months could duplicate and build something pretty quick. If we've already got the piles in the ground, the design, we'd love to get band and choir drama into their home. The other major is the gymnasium, Tiger Field House. When we say that, I've got a slide here to show you about that in just a second. And then the infrastructure, meaning that the parking lot, we would want to finish out. We just added this canopy. We would want other canopies. There's other irrigation, developing of this parking lot area. So there's other infrastructure things that still need to be completed. The Tiger Field House and Gymnasium. So there's two parts to it. This would be the front part where there would be locker rooms, classrooms, offices, the kind of the food snack area. So that front part of the Tiger Field House. Weight room would also be added there. And then you would have the full gymnasium, enclosed, air-conditioned, one main court, and then you could do two side courts kind of thing. So that one is estimated at about $1.4 million. Every year we wait, it keeps going up, kind of thing. The piles are already in the ground for that. When Gene Foltz and his team were designing these buildings, they knew that this was part of phase one. So that's why they went ahead and drove the piles into the ground to kind of save the noise, the time, the energy, and the expense. We're very pleased with our current facilities that we have, but we would sure love to be able to get your students out of some of the heat, the pollution. It would provide another massive multi-purpose space for us. Right now, our cafeteria is our only multi-purpose space. 3 chapels, lunches every day, the concerts that the praise and worship thing we had last night, hosting even community events, tournaments, things that we're limited to be able to do without these other buildings. And then this is a picture of the performing arts rendering. So this is the middle school. These are those restrooms that have been completed. And then, like I said, the performing arts building that would go on the other end there.
Is that also for performances or just?
It would be just for the practices. So in phase 2, great lead in to the next slide. Phase 2, we have an auditorium. So no piles are in the ground, but where the cafeteria sits, the middle school, and then eventually that band, choir, drama, in between that grassy and where our tarp fence is, that area would be planned for about 1,000-seat auditorium. So we see the school really, as we talk about ministry and impact here in the 1040 window, we see the school being here. This is God's school. And so when Gene and the architects were designing, they thought we need to build this thing for 1,000. And obviously when we have graduation and other things, we get pretty close to that by the time you have all the seniors, families, and everybody in there. But I think about churches, ministries, seminars, productions, concerts that we could have and things that would offer to the community. It just would be a beautiful, beautiful space that we see down the road. Did that answer your question? Okay. Phase 2, hard to see some concepts, and what's not really drawn on here is right here is where they think a swimming pool would go. Right now, building one at Graceland, so that might put us off a little while. Graceland had hoped to have it in by September 1st. They're delayed a little bit with the rains and everything. But we do have an agreement with them, so our swim team can swim over there. And now with some of the block schedule and classes, we've talked to them. They've been so fantastic to work with about maybe even PE classes, getting a chance to kind of go over. At the World Club days, the pool was very central. We loved it. We had PE and swim lessons and things over there all the time. I don't know that we would match that, but there's opportunities for us in that partnership. So when the aquatic center goes into place, this soccer field would go away. So we've talked about a track around the other soccer field here, a track and field to go in there. There's a long time ago, there was talk about faculty housing. There was talk about 4 soccer fields. There was, all different kinds of things that have kind of developed throughout the years. But those are just kind of the final out there plans. Any kids in kindergarten? Maybe they might see that. So just this couple of slides here about how you can continue to be involved. partnering with Grace, becoming a school aide, obviously recess, cafeteria, library, parent, staff, community, that we continue to need. Could not exist and do what we do without your support here at school. Help substitute in the classroom. Just yesterday, our chief finance officer went in to teach a math class. A lot of sickness going around, and so we got to step in, and I've come in before to teach some of the religious studies or different classes as well. They don't dare put me in a math class. They know better, but I can handle some of the other, history and science and those classes. So we could definitely use help with that. The financial donations, obviously campus projects, student scholarships, staff scholarships. From time to time we do. We have a rise in what we call the Global South, missionaries who are coming from countries that maybe are less affluent. They don't have quite the means to actually get supporting churches like maybe I would from the US or Canada or the UK. But they want to serve, and they're finding avenues to come out, but they can't afford the school. Even though it is very affordable, for them it's still maybe out of touch. So some of those student scholarships, staff scholarships, sometimes it's staff who are coming, still have student loans, or need help with maybe just housing allowance, things that you could sponsor. Our Korean friends at times have said, sometimes our English isn't so good, I can't really provide a teacher for you, but I could provide the funds for you to help get a teacher here. And so that's been a wonderful partnership that we've had at times. Questions?
For the student scholarships for the Southern Hemisphere,
Uh-huh.
what would be the procedure for that, or who would be the people to contact?
Yeah, our finance office or myself, and we can help you with the way to donate, whether it's a monthly kind of thing, or whether it's been an endowment, or whether, hey, I've got $1,000 I can give, and then we have an envelope or an account that we could put towards that.
My question was on the other side, from people that would like to make use of that scholarship.
We do get applicants, and I believe on the website it says if you need assistance, contact us. And we do have contacts, and we're currently assisting several students. There was a generous scholarship that was given a couple years ago, and we continue to chisel away at that, but we've been able to help some families tremendously. Yeah, thank you for that. Ways we try to stay connected, just communication-wise, but weekly Roar, superintendent updates, websites, social media, line. Thankfully, we haven't had to close school because of flooding or anything like that, but if you haven't already used your phone to sign up for Line for the emergency, that is one of the ways that we have an account with Line, that if for some reason, and it was used during COVID, of course, when the Ministry of Education, or we had an outbreak of COVID, or there was a sudden announcement, we used that tool as a mechanism to communicate to you, school's closing, this incident has happened, something like that in an emergency capacity. So we don't use it a lot, but it would certainly be a way for us to get in touch with you quickly. The teacher or staff appointments, parent-teacher conferences are coming up at any time. You don't feel like you have to wait until first quarter to you see your student is struggling or you've got questions. Feel free to contact the principals, that teacher, set up a one-to-one appointment with them and talk. So don't feel like that's your only chance or opportunity to have a conversation with them. Email, set up an appointment. Just dropping in, we'd rather you set the appointment. Sometimes the teacher needs to be able to be prepared for the conversation and for you as well. Educational support, health services, admissions, any of those. If you have questions, want to make those appointments, happy to do that. So we did have some questions that came in from you all in the community. I'm going to take a sip of water, excuse me. As I drip it all down me, that's all right. One of the questions that came in that had to do with expectations of the Thai Language and Cultural Learning Program, the advanced track. So the Thai government has the Ministry of Education that oversees the Thai nationals and the level of proficiency and rigor that those Thai students must meet. So our Thai teachers, our principals, validate, verify that those Thai nationals have met that criteria. For our other students, it's meant to be an introductory, a cultural learning experience, a time of learning some Thai, basic Thai, but we don't expect or take the students to the advanced levels of Thai. If they continue to Thai 1, Thai 2, Thai 3, get to Thai 3, they've gotten much better mastery of the language. But it is not our expectation to get students to a mastery proficiency of Thai. So that was one question that came in. So I hope I've either made that clear or understand. So the Thai nationals are certainly held to, in their country, Ministry of Education, a high level of rigor. The rest of us as foreigners, we meet a minimal requirement, and we meet the Ministry of Education's expectation for us and what we say in the charter, but it is not meant to put your child at an advanced level of Thai. Okay?
Steve, when you get a question, can you repeat it for the live stream audience?
Okay. Thank you. Oh, from in here? Okay, thank you, yeah.
They can't hear the question.
All right. The second question that's on the, did you want to reflect back to
Can
it?
I just ask about that first one?
Mhm.
So what about families who would like to have more opportunity for Thai proficiency?
Right. We can try to put you in touch with other outside types of agencies and or tutors and or things like that, but the school itself doesn't really have the personnel, the mechanism, and the mechanics to offer like extra additional help in that. Did that answer your question? Sorry. Kind of cut it off quickly there, but yeah.
It just seems to me that, I mean, it's a part of their week,
Mhm.
you know, a couple of hours a week, even from kindergarten on.
Right, right.
But they're not maybe learning that much, is how it feels to me.
Right.
Could it be
Right.
more rigorous?
Right. We definitely have gone through some revisions and trying to step up the game a little bit on it, but different people have different maybe feels of I'm comfortable with this isn't enough, and so forth. So we do have a curriculum standard that we are meeting, what we would almost say industry standard for what we're either required or expected to do here. So yeah, if it doesn't meet that, then it would have to come from somewhere outside.
So for high school, I mean, because high schoolers have to make certain proficiency levels
Mhm.
in a foreign language.
Mhm, mhm.
Is Thai the main one that's offered?
Typically for that, they take the Spanish or Mandarin that we're offering here. Thai has not necessarily been one of those, but they've met like a proficiency level at a college university that they would then count that. Maybe, but I'm not fully aware of that. I can follow up with that question for you to make sure. But Thai has been one of our foreign languages. Like I'm trying to think, even my own daughter took Thai up to Thai 2. I don't know if she did Thai 3. And so it counted for her high school transcripts to say she had 2 years of a foreign language. But as far as maybe a proficiency to count off and say, oh, I'm proficient at this level, I don't think it would have met that. I'm not sure if I'm answering your question correctly, but I can follow up for you. Thank you. Great. So the second question in here, GIS policy on percentage of non-Christian students and non-Christian staff. So we have a standard for our operational field staff that does not necessarily require for them to be believers. They are not necessarily directly engaged with the students. That would be our grounds, our facilities, custodial, those field staff. We do not expect them to be Christian believers. The other staff that are in the offices, interact with your children, the aides, the different proficiencies and levels that we have in administration. There is a requirement or an expectation for them to have a profession of faith or be a believer, church-going, Christian walk and testimony. The students, we do not have a policy. Some schools have what's called a covenant, or covenant school or a non-covenant school, to where at least someone in the household has to be a believer. We do not have that standard, except that from 80% of our community, of our students, do come from the missional community, the mission families. There is an expectation, an assumption that with 80% of the population coming from some sort of Christian home environment, that continues to be our pool of students that would have either exposure, understanding, but we don't require a student to be here to be a believer in Christ. It is a journey. We do expect our staff, our teachers, we try very hard with our biblical worldview integration, where they are shared the gospel. Every parent that signs, they understand the statement of faith, and they understand that we are going to present the gospel. We are going to present the Bible. We are going to integrate that. So they have to be comfortable with that. We've certainly had families from different faiths who understand that and have accepted that their children are going to be exposed to that. Did that, any follow-up, or did that answer?
So
Yeah.
is that 80% like a policy of Christ, or is that just what happens to be the student body right now?
It is a policy from the board that says 80% of our student population has to come from that missional community. 20% can be standard. That's our Thai nationals, that's NGOs, that's other foreign nationalities that might be here. But 80% would come from the missionary families, those international Christian workers. Great question. Okay. Number 3 on here, and then we'll happy to take other questions. GIS policy on native versus non-native English speakers as main classroom teachers and instructors. We do not have a policy. We do have a non-discriminatory clause where we would not discriminate against anybody. So we do look at their competency. We look at their qualifications. We get a rigorous interview with them, and in every occasion possible, their proficiency in English, if it's appropriate, as the lead teacher. But we would not say they have to come from a first English-speaking passport country. But so it's their competency, their qualifications, and then their ability. We obviously have our Spanish teacher is coming, from a country that Spanish is their first language and not. We have a couple other teachers that maybe their passport country wouldn't be English, but their proficiency, competency is well within the range to be the lead teacher. Any follow-up?
I think it's actually a requirement on the Thai side, on the Thai education side or work department, labor department side, that non-native English speakers will have to take a test to prove that they have a certain level of English. Otherwise, they cannot be employed.
At the international school setting, I think you're right. Thank you for that.
Even applies to some native English speakers.
Yeah.
Because they're not the big ones.
Right, right. Thank you for that. Okay, any other questions from the floor?
Okay, about the
Yes.
staff encouragement,
Mm-hmm.
including scholarship, are
Mhm.
there other ways to encourage staff members?
To come?
Yeah, love gifts or some kind of snacks or something?
There are. Most of our staff members, well, they all either, as far as teachers, come either from a mission organization or a sending church. And so there are certainly ways to make the church, the mission organization, and/or individuals, they raise their own support, ways to help them try to obtain that support. I know one of our members of the community, a couple of them actually have offered support raising tools, strategies, things here locally to try to help them. If you and/or others would like to give to an individual, that can happen as well, or even through the school as a scholarship. Am I hearing your question and answering it correctly?
Yeah, yeah. So actually, I'm from Pakistan.
Mm.
We had good missionary school, MK Kids
Mhm.
School. At that time, we had in the school we have a special room for staff members. So we parents, we just send some gifts, flowers, snacks
Oh,
for them
wow.
occasionally. So
Yeah.
in this school, do we have this kind of system?
We have had what's called the PSC, the Parent Community Staff, where the parents have very much wanted to bless. So they've done special, beverage, drinks, or gifts and goodies, cupcakes, birthday notes, and things for them. That council or committee this year has been not as organized. But yes, there have been times and avenues when the parent community have been able to celebrate, affirm, encourage, award staff members with special gifts or thank yous. Yeah. I hope that answers that. Okay. Yeah, if you want to bring some drinks up for everybody, that would be great.
This event is also live stream, so that's just one question.
Okay, from the live stream.
And it was about, you were mentioning Line ID and how to join, but the question is how to join that. So I've just already answered that because it's in the PSMO.
Okay.
It's under communication, PSMO handbook. Under communication topic, there is a link there, say instruction, you see Line, and then if you click into that link, it will lead you to the QR code and stuff, and instruction for you to download that app and sign up for the Line.
Okay. Thank you, Y. And I forgot to re-ask or restate the questions that you all are asking for the people. So what Kun Y is saying that someone emailed in and she's monitoring that. How do you sign up for the Line account? So going on the PSMO on the website, there is a link located in there. Also at the front desk coming in here at the school where Kun Op at the reception, there's a QR code there as well that you can sign up, use your phone and scan that as well. Great. Other? Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I've heard about GIS Carnival. It was very fantastic.
Yes.
I've heard about it.
Yes.
In this year, when will it be?
Yes. Unfortunately, the carnival this year is not going to happen. It lacked some of the sponsorship, organization, people to be the one to say, ooh, I'll do carnival. And so we felt like, well, unless we have those champions to actually step forward and help run it, we would not schedule it. In addition, the school chose to add a few different types of activities that would build community. I think the community yard sale is happening. I'm not positive, but I think there was a sports day that might be added. There's a few other things. So Carnival's space or weekend got taken. And then there was no champion to say, I'll run with Carnival. For example, we have the Christmas market coming up. There are some parents who have said, hey, I love the Christmas market. I'll be glad to run and spearhead the Christmas market. And so we're coming alongside them, but the parent is running that. Yeah. So unfortunately, no carnival this year. And the reason why, years ago, we looked at our list of activities and things that the school did, and it felt like there was like 150 things that the school was doing. And so our students, our staff, the community, the custodial crew, it was always something happening going on, and people by September were exhausted. They were just like, I can't do another thing. And so a few years ago, the school tried to be intentional to say, that's a great idea. Maybe this year we won't do that until or unless there's margin or there's someone else that could actually champion or do it. And so sometimes it's been a tough decision to say, that's a good thing, but we're not going to do that this year. Because it's helped us, and you guys are parents, sometimes you have to help your children discern, you can't be, varsity sport this and on Model United Nations and SGA person and jazz band and this band and Night Bazaar Evangelism and Chapel Corps team and they start listing it out and you're just like, you're going to die, you're going to, and so sometimes you as a parent have to help your child or your children say, well, let's choose one or two and excel at something like that. Because again, when we talked about our values, one of them was excellence. And so we would like for our teachers to be able to remain excellent in the classroom, coming to school vibrant, not exhausted from every event, every weekend, and same for the students. But it's hard. Great, yes.
Just a question in regard to middle school.
Okay,
Because it's new,
yes.
is there going to be soonish, like a feedback to find out how the kids and the parents are finding it? Like some of the issues that the kids might be bringing home? Any kind of feedback?
Great question. I do think that is on the radar. I will follow up. Kunwai is going to be making a note for me as an action step to follow up to see when and if or how that feedback is coming, because we would truly value, how that is being heard or hear you on that and or other middle schoolers. So I'll find out and get back with you. You have a middle schooler? Okay. A lot of energy. And at lunch, a lot of energy. And everything, a lot of energy. It's a lot of fun. I actually love teaching middle school. That's one of my favorite age groups. Great. Any other? Yes.
And then about feedback as
Yes.
well. Is there a way we can get feedback about curriculum choices that have been made by the school? Or is there a committee that decides curriculum?
There is a educational leadership team. And we do have a curriculum and instruction director. George Thomas is just stepping into that as an interim position. So you're welcome to provide feedback to Joe Crane, our deputy superintendent, who oversees the academic side of the school very heavily, or George Thomas, or the high school principal, or middle school, if it's in that case as well. And they're all part of that educational leadership team that then look at the curriculum and the standards, the Carnegie hours, the different things that we look at, AP standards, college board, what they're expecting in choosing the curriculum that we do. So I'd be happy to put you in touch with that email and for you to get in touch with them. Great. Any other questions from online? Okay. Well, it would be very unusual for me to actually finish a meeting early, as I'm often just talking and rambling or getting things done. But if there aren't any other, I'm happy to dismiss you early. You're welcome to go get a coffee or tea in the front reception office down there. If you haven't scoped out, there actually is a place you can sit and wait. and get some coffee or tea if you're here early or stay late in that. I do have one question if we talk about feedback, if I could ask, kind of random. The Tiger Shop has moved right out front. Now, the first couple of days of school, we did all the uniforms out in the rotunda area right down below the steps. But now it's moved out. Have any of you used it, gone out there, experienced it? We've tried to make it in a place that's visible, accessible for parents. Yes, one at least? Okay. It's been an okay experience? Okay. All right. We do have plans to add a better roof and actually a little porch area so that it's not, where do I, go right in? But yeah, that was trying to give a spot, a place where parents would be just convenient and easy for you guys to come in and out there. Okay, yes.
Regarding that,
Yeah.
is there a second-hand shop part of that? Could there be?
I do
Turn
think,
down, give donations of old ones and get cheaper?
I do think there is that, yes. Especially at the beginning of the school year, I think there was a 10-baht box or something, a grab box or kind of thing where, yes, families that have left have just donated uniforms for anybody to come and pick. I'll follow up and find out if they're still that existing, but yeah, there's definitely.
On
Yes.
the GAS community group, a lot of times people are selling secondhand stuff. There was one posted yesterday. So,
Okay,
yeah, there's always coming up on there.
okay. Thank you. All right. Well, there's plenty of fruit cups over there and cupcakes and some things if you guys would like. And again, let me just say thank you. Your children are amazing. I get teary-eyed every time I talk about this because when I talk with other schools, heads of schools in different arenas, and I see in my home country things that happen and what we get to experience from your children, the conversations, the insights. I had a parent, Thai parent, tell me their child started here at school. First couple of weeks sitting in the cafeteria, which is often a very scary place. They're new. And 2 senior boys came and sat with him and were just engaging with him and demonstrating that they cared to learn about him and to include him. It made a world of difference. And again, these are just your kids who just having an eye for that. Hey, that kid's sitting alone. Let's go speak into that. So thank you for what you're doing. You're doing a tremendous job with your children, and we're certainly so blessed to have them here. So with that, may the Lord be praised. This is His school, and thank you for the partnership we get to have with you. Blessings to you as you head out, and God bless. Thank you.
Thank you for your work as well.
Thank you so much.